This is a Bulldog Radio podcast.
Perfect.
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
Mikes and Takes, episode 7. I'm here with Barrett. My name is Travis. I'm here with Barrett. I'm here with Logan, who was on last week's episode, and our buddy Kaleb, Ferris State sophomore. Happy to have you on the show.
How we doing?
We're going to talk some NFL, NBA, but first, we're going to talk about some college football. It's rivalry week again in Michigan. Michigan versus State. What are your guys' opinions on the game?
Well, I mean, we obviously already know who's going to take this dub. I mean,
who is that?
Michigan, obviously. I mean, their season has been looking much better than Michigan State. The stats show it. I mean, putting up that win against Notre Dame like they did and making them look like a bunch of fools. Michigan State hasn't done anything like that all year. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty clear-cut game on what's going to happen here.
I mean, I'm a State fan, but I can't lie. Michigan's looking good. They're 7-2. State just blew a 25-point lead against Illinois. But you got to remember, State's usually good in these games. And last time they played at Michigan, they won in 2017. You know, when Michigan was ranked number 7. So, do you have any concern that Sparty might, pull out any tricks or anything?
I mean, yeah, obviously they always do that. They always pull out their best game for this one weekend. They're gonna pull out their best game and do everything they can to get that W. But I think this Michigan team and the talent that they have this year, it's too much for Michigan State to handle. Honestly,
Travis, I have one question for you. Who is playing quarterback for you?
Brian Lewerke. Are you talking about for Michigan State?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still a State fan, so I'm not going to be. So I'm guessing you're picking Michigan too.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I mean, I believe Michigan's going to win the game, but I wouldn't be shocked if State won. I mean, State's been pretty bad, but they're usually pretty good at ruining other people's seasons. They're going pretty well, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
See, that's the thing is Michigan doesn't really have anything to play for anymore. It's all pride now. Their season. They're not getting the Big Ten championship. They lost to 2 conference teams. They're not getting in the playoff. They got Ohio State and Penn State, and honestly, Minnesota ahead of them right now. I think right now everything that they do is for pride. So this Michigan State game, they're going to go out there. I think they're going to put on a clinic. Honestly, I don't think it's not a quarterback game at all.
Do you think it'll be a close game?
I do think it's going to be closer than what people think it is. I don't think that Michigan is going to blow them out like they did Notre Dame. I think they're definitely going to have to play the starters the entire time for sure. Because, Sparty, they do pull out that best game.
Yeah, and it's coming to the point where it's just like, this is not probably Jim Harbaugh's last season as Michigan's coach, but there is like a possibility of that becoming reality. It'll be like that question will be answered if they play Ohio State, and then whoever wins that, like that'll save him for at least a couple of years if he beats Ohio State this year. But if they lose again, I just don't see him sticking around.
I'm happy you brought that up because that's a real question that needs to be addressed. Like, if he loses to State and Ohio State, is he done? Like, that's a really big deal because he's really not good in rivalry games or big games. It's been a proven fact. Even though they did, like you alluded to earlier, they did beat Notre Dame. But what other big time wins does he have really on his resume?
He doesn't have any. I mean, what is he 2-8 versus top 10 teams?
Yeah. It's
terrible. That's a 20%.
Yeah, it's a terrible record, and he brings all the I guess swag, who's got it better than us, nobody type mentality. But I mean, we need a winner at the helm of the Michigan football. I know the alumni kind of liked him when he came back because he's played for Michigan.
Yeah, and he got the Jordan gear.
He got the Jordan gear sponsorship, but I just don't think we just don't have a quarterback. He was supposed to be the guy who could get us a quarterback. Shea's been great the last year.
He's been
okay. Listen, he's been okay, but he
hasn't been too bad.
He's digressed completely this year.
He's better than Wilson Spate was. For sure.
Right, but I just don't.
But when that quarterback is worse than Denard Robinson, and Denard Robinson pulled out better wins than Shea Patterson because he could win under a clutch situation. Oh, dude, that's bad.
See, this is why
Would you say Shea Patterson's better than Wilson Spate?
Oh, Shea Patterson is for sure better than Wilton Spate, but I don't think Shea Patterson is whatsoever what we need. I'm not sure even if there's a quarterback on that roster that has that winning, that Tom Brady. He just wins those games, And I don't think a Michigan quarterback on that roster has that ability right now to just win games they need to. They just don't have that it factor, which, like Tua Tagovailoa or whatever the hell his name is. Has, he just wins those games that he needs to be that great.
But it's also, I feel like, I'm happy you brought Alabama. Like, Nick Saban has, like, a certain system, I feel like, to make guys great. Like, do you feel like Harbaugh, like, has, like, a good system? Because really, statistically, Michigan hasn't been that great, really, since Lloyd Carr. I mean, since Lloyd Carr retired, they've had some decent seasons, but it hasn't really been consistent, I feel like.
I think with this team, honestly, this team has brought a whole new perspective. I mean, the way they bought in since the second half of that Penn State game, they were down 21-7.
21-7, you're right.
They came back they ultimately lost, but the way they came back and played that second half, it was a whole different Michigan team.
You are right. They came down to a 4th and goal where it was a drop pass that could have tied the game.
Yeah, I mean, that, and then what they did the next week to just absolutely obliterate Notre Dame, like that, this team has looked, these last couple weeks has looked a complete different team than it ever has since Jim Harbaugh showed up. So it kind of makes me optimistic that, hey, maybe this team and this program's buying into the Jim Harbaugh system. And if he can get that, he's going to be a Nick Saban. He's going to build a dynasty. Yeah, that's how I say it.
And as for like the quarterback goes, because Josh Gaddis, who stolen basically from Alabama, he comes in, implements his offense more of like an RPO thing. I don't think Shea's an RPO kind of guy. Yeah. I think he's more of a pocket passer and then kind of moves when he has to. But they have Joe Milton coming up. He's a sophomore this year. We have Christian McCaffrey's brother Dylan, who kind of fits the RPO mold. He's kind of more. I would have to say he's kind of leaning on the pocket passer kind of side of things. But
really,
I mean, there's sometimes when you look at him and he just doesn't want to make the read, and maybe it's just because he's new to the offense like everyone else. And Shea's, he's like his 5th year in NCAA football, so he would know how to adapt to offenses, but. Sometimes I look at Dylan, like when we've thrown him in against Notre Dame and other games where he's come in to play, sometimes he just doesn't look like he knows how to wear the read. Like you read the linebacker on the RPO or you read the defensive end when you're pulling stuff. So sometimes with that, he just doesn't get. But that could be changed over 1 year in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think once Jay Patterson leaves, and I mean, I think he's got all the talent in the world. I mean, I went to, not this season, 2018, I watched the opener that Michigan played in. They were up 48-0, so they threw Dylan McCaffrey, and dude ran a 98-yard touchdown, and nobody was even close. I mean, just to have that raw talent, and if Harbaugh can develop that, that's a Heisman candidate right there. I mean, you give him the tools that he needs, shoot, watch out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you both make great points. Like, to be honest, I mean, Michigan has potential. I just think Harbaugh needs a Big Ten championship and that on his resume. Obviously a national championship too, to be up there with those great coaches like Urban Meyer was before he retired and Nick Saban currently. But let's hop into the next game of college football. LSU and Alabama played this weekend. LSU pulled off the upset in Alabama, their first win in Alabama since 2011. What did you guys think about that game?
Jordan Burrow, the hype is for real. That quarterback, dude. Jordan.
Oh, yeah, Joey Burrow.
Joe Burrow? My bad.
No, you're good. But you're right. He solidified his
31
his
of 39.
candidacy for Heisman for sure.
Yeah. That was one of the best. I think that might have been better than Johnny Manziel's performance.
Honestly, because it just looked like he was not, he's so weird. He played with no emotion that entire game. We were watching it and he didn't blink. He'd celebrate time to time, but blank face, the entire time. He was playing. Even after the game, he kind of didn't even look like he was that, right? I think he knows there's another mission ahead of him to win the championship for LSU.
Oh, I honestly have very little doubt that team is not going to win the championship this year. I mean, I know there's a good Ohio State team out there, and they can give them a run for their money, but the LSU team is just too good.
Yeah, they have a ton of they even have a bunch of NFL dudes on the defensive side of the ball, let alone Joe Burrow, and then the running back that they have. Who's given Darren Sproles comparisons this past weekend. But I mean, those guys there on the defensive side of the ball is really what sets that team apart. And especially with Ohio State having their defensive end, who's now suspended for another week. this Saturday.
Oh yeah, Chase Young.
Chase Young gives another problem for
He should be back for the Penn State game.
Right. So, but yeah, I think Joe Burrow definitely solidified himself as a Heisman candidate.
You make a good point. He had a great game, and they won at Alabama. Like that was tremendous. But I do think you guys might not agree, but if they play Alabama again in the college playoff, I think it will be different. Because if you give Nick Saban a second chance, I can't see him losing twice to one team. Because you got to remember, when they lost to Alabama, when Alabama lost to LSU in 2011, they played them again in the national title and beat them 21-0. So when you give them a second chance, I just feel like, and they don't lose at home very often, but that was a good LSU win. They're deserving of the number 1 ranking right now. So we'll see how that plays out with Ohio State and all the other good teams too right now.
Yeah, and that's like the argument that we made with Belichick last weekend is if the Ravens beat the Patriots, but if the Patriots meet the Ravens again in the playoffs, you're going to think that Belichick's going to know what to do, know what personnel packages to put out there to stop Lamar Jackson, put a spy on him, something like that, just to contain him. So, yeah, you're right. It's the same thing. Saban and Belichick, both just very good geniuses of football.
I definitely agree. They're both two great coaches. They both have 6 championships. Saban has 5 with Alabama and 1 with LSU, and obviously Bill Belichick has 6 Super Bowls. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. College football has been very exciting this year. And now let's transition to the NFL. You guys see on the Monday night game, Seahawks and 49ers. Logan, I know you're.
Yeah, I'm still here, by the way. Sorry.
I know you're a San Francisco guy. So, what do you think about the loss? I know it's only one game, but what do you think?
Like I said previous to this podcast, we weren't as healthy as we should have been. We didn't have our number 1 kicker, Robbie Gould. We didn't have the best tight end in the league right now, George Kittle.
Best tight end.
Best in the league.
Best
right
in
now.
the league?
Yeah,
right now. What?
Travis Kelce?
No.
George
Have
Kittle.
you seen him?
George Kittle for sure.
He is a monster, dude. Yes.
I mean, he's good. I don't know about the best.
Did Travis score it all? I'm
Listen.
sorry, Kelsey. Sorry, Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah.
Travis Kelce scored all when Matt Moore was there, or no?
No.
I don't think.
But,
I don't
I
believe
actually don't
he
believe
he did
he
get
did,
some
no.
catches, and they
Only
did win the
elite
game.
players score with any quarterback.
They did beat the Vikings though. But you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not throwing shade at Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce won.
They're both up there.
Yeah, he has a great name too. But yeah.
Exactly. Okay. But yeah, I mean, we had our rookie kicker, and we were. I mean, this guy was rolling 3 for 3, going into the awful overtime kick. But I mean, when our defensive end had that pick in the overtime from Russell Wilson in their red zone, I mean, we almost ran it back, but I mean that our kicker just did not come through, and I mean we were playing good the whole game, and except when Jimmy G came in, he just looked nervous. Like once we had the interception, he just looked nervous. Was just throwing right to Seattle every time, and I mean we could have done better, but I think next time we play him, we'll be ready. We'll have Robbie Gould back. We'll have George Kittle back. It'll be a good one.
You do make some good points, but I think, Seattle did get him on a bad night, but Russell Wilson's just having one of those years. He's an MVP. Even though his stats weren't that great from the night, 24 of 34 and 232 yards with a touchdown, obviously the INT and OT, but when I feel like the changing point in the game, when they gave him a second chance to get an overtime, that's why they won. It was a good back and forth. Yeah, Jimmy G just wasn't himself. He really threw 2 picks. One of them got taken back because of a flag. But yeah, I mean, they'll see each other again. It is only one loss, but these are the 2, I would say, best teams in the NFC for sure.
I would say that as well. And I forgot to mention about Russell Wilson. It wasn't just the Niners, mistakes and, injuries that made us lose. I mean, Russell Wilson, it doesn't matter about the stats. He was the guy that led them, got him to the red zone, put him in field goal position. Jason Myers put the game away. I mean, it was a
that field goal click was like close too, to be honest. Like it was like right, like on the when you look at the highlights.
Exactly.
That was definitely one of the best Monday night games of the year.
It was fantastic.
I mean, y'all kind of brought up all the points. I think these definitely are the 2 best teams in the NFC. In that last game of the season, when these 2 teams meet up again, it's going to be the same thing. These 2 teams are going to be the 2 favorites, and the one to win is going to get that home field advantage in the playoffs. And then, honestly, that's going to be to me, that's a very big indicator because, going into Seattle and winning a game is one of the toughest things to do in the NFL. It's one of the best home crowds you can get. So, I mean, I think if Seattle's able to hang on to that one again, that definitely almost punches their ticket to the Super Bowl. I think it's it's a very good indicator.
I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and so another like indicator like this game is that like no running back really had like a great game. Like they held Chris Carson for under 100 yards. He did score a touchdown, but like both sides really couldn't run the ball.
It was kind of defensive.
It was
I
a
feel
very
like.
defensive game. I think really a lot of their yards came from just deep crosses into zones because both teams are very zone heavy. Like Seattle's very like known to run the ball more than any other team in the NFL this year. And looking at that, how Tyler Lockett had to be used so much, him and DK Metcalf were used a ton. I really thought San Francisco was going to pull away from this one at halftime when they ripped that ball out of DK Metcalf's hands. Like I was like, oh, like that's a turning point right there in the game.
I was nervous at first because like I picked Seattle to win. I was happy they won, but like San Francisco came out.
We did.
Russell Wilson.
Weren't you here?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Okay, that's what I thought.
Russell Wilson is on my fantasy team, so I'm a little bit biased. But
Okay.
no, but like honestly, this is
He's
not
on my
the same.
team too.
He's not. Well, yeah, I mean you're from San Francisco.
Not
but-
Jimmy G? What?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah,
All right. Yeah. All
But
right.
like Russell Wilson has been like very good this year, but it's not even just that. The trades they've made have been good. Jadeveon Clowney, and they obviously got Diggs from the Lions, which was I don't even want to talk about it. But anyway, it was like that was just such a bad trade for us. It pisses me off every time I think about it. But that's why I think Seattle can really come out the NFC this year because they have all the great weapons, and he's only thrown 2 interceptions, 26 total touchdowns. I mean, Russell Wilson, I believe he's that guy. I think he's going to win the MVP.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, it's either going to be Christian McCaffrey or him, and I think that Russell Wilson is in the lead right now. But Clowney last night, or Monday night, he was just disgusting. He was ripping through all of our offensive line, getting right into Jimmy G's face, and that's why Jimmy G he was pissing his pants the whole game.
and not to cut you off, you guys have a great defense too. Joey Bosa, Richard Sherman, who was on Seattle. It was really cool. I don't know if you saw.
We have Nick Bosa.
Oh, Nick Bosa, my bad. I don't know if you saw after the game, Russell Wilson and Richard Sherman like exchanged jerseys. That was pretty cool. That there's still mutual respect there. But yeah, I mean, 49ers are good. Seahawks are good. The NFC is tough this year. The Rams are not even in the picture. You know, that shows you how
there's
good
not even a good like third team
What?
in the
That's what I'm
NFC.
saying.
What
To be completely
happened
honest with you.
to Gurley, man? He fell off.
Yeah, he was first. I actually saw a stat on ESPN the other day. He was first in everything from like rushing. This year, his highest is like 17th, like in touchdowns.
I think they're really downplaying like how hurt he is.
Yeah, I think he was hurt in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he's like terribly hurt from that Super Bowl, and he's never been able to recover. To be honest, like
they literally had the 9th ranked best offense of all time, like statistically last year, and they only scored 3 points in the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Like that was insane. Like,
That just
they haven't
doesn't
been the
make
same
sense.
team since then.
I mean, they still have, their defense is still really high up since of Aaron Donald, and they're just not, putting themselves in a good position with their offense.
And they just lost to the Steelers, who's being led by Mason Rudolph. No disrespect to him, but I mean it's Mason Rudolph. Like, that's a game you got to win.
They also
They
didn't
winning
even have,
games.
they
The
didn't even,
Steelers are winning games.
and
Yeah,
they
they've
didn't
won
have
4 in a row.
they didn't have James Conner when the Rams lost, when they lost to the Steelers. I mean, they didn't even have their best running back in, and they still lost.
I'm actually happy you brought that up to bring to our next point. Tomorrow's night game is actually a huge game for the Browns Steelers versus Browns. The Browns really need to win out to make the playoffs, like Baker Mayfield was saying. Do you guys see them making it, or do you guys think it's too late, for them to do it?
This Browns team, it's not much of a team, if a team at all. I would say it's a bunch of guys that are really good at playing football, playing on the same roster. I wouldn't say that they're an exact team. They haven't gelled together. They don't really know each other. They don't know how to feel each other out yet. They're not on that level.
Exactly, and that's what they had that extreme hype. They had Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Nick Chubb coming in
And
the
they
league.
just
Baker
got Kareem
Mayfield.
Hunt back. He played last week.
And like all this hype and like how you were saying the chemistry. There's none. There's zero. They have no idea. They don't know each other yet. And it could take maybe next year if they all stay. They could be an elite team if they have a good offseason, but right now it's not looking good. I don't think they're making the playoffs.
Well, like the thing I've been saying all year is that they have to get rid of Freddie Kitchens at the end of this year.
Oh,
Think so?
yeah.
After
He's
1 year?
garbage. Like
He's horrible.
He doesn't know how to call plays at all. And I was listening to an interview with Warren Sharp. He's like an analytics guy. He was talking about how like at the top of Cleveland is the type of offense that wants to be run is by the owner. Like that's how he wants it ran. The owner and the GM both agree on that. So now they've pass that down to Freddie Kitchens. So maybe it's not Freddie Kitchens' fault, but he's going to be the guy who's going to get laid out. Like, he's going to be the guy who's fired because that's just in the position he's at because he's the head coach.
I mean, I don't know how you don't blame it on the head coach at that point. I mean, if you can't get a team full of guys that know how to play football and are great at the game, if you can't get them to win a game, then, I mean, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
I actually got to disagree with you guys. I think it's half and half. I'm not going to lie. I was on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon all year.
You think it's Baker's
but
fault?
I think he's thrown 12 interceptions through 9 games.
Okay.
Baker has
He's a
not.
huge
here's
part of
my
it.
thing.
He's a huge part of it.
He is.
He
I'm not
a huge
saying it's
part of
all
it.
his fault,
He's
but
a huge
Baker
part of it.
it's like
also
half blame.
Baker also leads in the worst turnover luck in the NFL this year. So he's had turnover luck is quantified as like tipped interceptions.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
True.
Or fumbles by like you're a player running into you. So
But they've lost games that they should. We even talked about this last week. They lost to a guy who had never started an NFL game when they lost to the Broncos last week. And he's just, imagine if you gave
it's a
Tom
future
Brady
Hall of
Kareem
Famer
Hunt.
right there.
I'm just saying, imagine if you gave Tom Brady, Kareem Hunt, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, all these guys, even Nick Chubb. Like, I just think he should have done more winnable like games. It's not all Baker Mayfield's fault, but he definitely deserves some of it.
Yeah, but he didn't deserve the hype that he got. That's the
Yeah.
thing. He didn't deserve
I mean,
any
he
of that
played
hype.
great last year. He broke the touchdown record for rookies.
I mean, yeah, but that was
It
a good
was the
season.
Browns.
It's a good
What
season.
other
man.
quarterback played with the Browns?
Dude, Tim Couch.
Get out of here. Yeah, Brian
Exactly.
Hoyer.
Brian
Brian Hoyer.
Hoyer.
I bet he broke Brian Hoyer's record. I don't know.
It-
What he broke,
It
but-
was actually Russell Wilson's record who had
Wait.
the previous touch. It was
Oh!
for rookie. I'm talking about overall.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good. So
My
Baker,
bad.
don't get me wrong. Baker Mayfield's
This guy.
I believe he's still the real deal, but like I don't know. Like they would really have to win the last 7 games to finish 10-6. I really don't know if they're going to beat the Steelers because, like you alluded to earlier, Kaleb, they have won 4 straight games. Mike Tomlin, I don't know what the hell he's doing. He's been just getting the team together and winning. So it's definitely a
it's
must-win
Mike
game.
Tomlin though.
Yeah, he is
I've
a
been
great
watching
coach.
Steelers for years, and
What do you mean it's Mike Tomlin?
he's a great head coach.
He's never had a losing record, ever.
Yeah,
So I got to give him credit for that. And
we don't even have Big Ben, we lost Le'Veon Bell. We lost Antonio Brown.
you're a Steelers fan too.
Yeah, I am. My
This
dad's a
this guy's
Steelers
all-
fan.
you're all
No,
over
my
the
da-
place.
My dad's a Steelers fan.
Pittsburgh,
chill out.
San Francisco.
Get out of here.
No, I just had to ask
I'm just
because
But
you said
I know
we-
I've watched. I know I got you.
No, I had to ask because you said we. No, but I'm just messing with you. No,
Yeah.
Steelers are a great team. I agree with you on that. I just think it's a must-win for the Browns. Honestly, you guys might disagree, but I think the Browns will win this game.
No, there's no way.
You
So
don't think so?
it's gonna
No
be. It's gonna be
way. I don't even care if
really
they're
close.
At home. Like I don't even care if they're at home. Like I think the Steelers are on that roll right now. They are finally
Yep.
getting. They're. I think Connor's probable to come
Yep.
back.
Yeah,
he's
he's
playing.
playing.
He's
He's
playing. He
playing.
said he's playing.
Thank the Lord because my fantasy team has been.
Same,
I
same,
take
same.
Connor out. It sucks, man. But yeah, he'll be back. Rudolph, I think is finally. Rudolph, wait, it's not Rudolph. Who's throwing the ball?
It's Mason. It's
Is it
Mason
Mason?
Rudolph.
Okay.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe he's dead after.
Okay.
No, it's been. He's been good. Bro.
Yeah, no, I thought, he's coming back, but he's definitely like he's in the flow of the offense now.
And so, the Browns and Steelers play 2 weeks from now. Like they're
Also, yeah.
they'll get a chance. Both teams will, they'll have another kind of a rubber match. So it'll be interesting. And I think like Pittsburgh, they're gonna shut it down. TJ Watt, they've been really solid on defense lately, and I'm surprised because they've had some injuries. But I do think that Pittsburgh is going to squeeze this one out. It's going to be really close. Like,
You do?
yes, it's going to be within. It could be like a last second field goal. I honestly believe.
If I had to make a prediction, I would say like I think the Browns will probably win 20-17. I do think it's going to be low scoring. The only reason why I'm having some confidence because they did just beat a pretty good Bills team who's being overlooked. They're 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the best defenses in the league. I mean, I just think they're in a must-win situation. All the talk, there's talk about the Browns even making the Super Bowl, and that's ludicrous. Like the Browns, like no,
That's what I'm saying. That was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and even though I do think they still can be a good team, it's just you just got to do something. But I don't think Freddie Kitchens is all the problem. I don't think firing him is because the Browns have had so many different coaches since the year 2000. So if you're just changing coaches, I don't feel like that's fixing the issue. Because if you only give them a certain personnel, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is that? You're just taking away from the main focus.
The weird part is that that's who Baker picked. That's who, like, he told the organization, is like, hey, can you go out and get this guy?
Yeah.
Because he likes him. So you think that maybe,
I think you got to give it one more year.
That's what I'm saying.
one
They're
more
not.
year's fine.
Because you got to think they're young.
Next year.
Kareem Hunt's 24, Baker's 23, Odell just turned 27. Like you still
Yeah,
got
but Odell wants out.
Yeah, Odell does not want to be there.
Odell doesn't want to be
Odell
there.
does not want to be.
He wants. He's trying to go to the
Jarvis Landry.
Patriots.
And that's
He's giving
yeah,
Tom
I mean, who
Brady.
doesn't want to
He's giving Tom Brady goat shoes.
He low-key
He's-
said that after the game. He said, my whole time, like, since I've been in the NFL, I wanted to be, like, a part of, like, I want to have the GOAT throwing me the ball.
he's trying to. Yeah, he's guarantees there's gonna be something that's going on. Like at the start of next season, he'll be in a jersey.
Brady
the
will probably
Patriots.
come back one more year, to be honest,
If he does. Yeah, I
You
don't
mean
know.
when Brady wins another Super Bowl? Is that
Oh,
what we're
yeah,
talking about?
I believe he's definitely.
Yeah, and he's
I
going
think
to.
He's
He's
well
going to.
on
It
his
makes
way
me mad
for his next
but-
one.
I think he is. I hope he gets 7.
But
What
Drew
did
Brees
you
taking
guys
him
think
down.
about Kaepernick? He's holding his
he-
private workouts.
The
this
Lions and
Saturday.
Cowboys came to it.
No, I think it's this Saturday.
No,
it's-
I mean, they're coming to it. My bad.
Yeah. No,
Matt Patricia and them are very interested to see what he can, do, they said.
yeah. That might tell like how serious like Stafford's back because he's got broken bones in his back. He's had him, I guess, apparently
Yeah.
since like week 4 or 3. So
Well, yeah, the NFL's looking into the Lions now. The Lions could be in like serious trouble based upon how they treated him and his situation.
I know that's
True.
gonna be terrible.
I
I,
know.
I love Stafford, but it's
still
probably
lost
time
lots
for a
of
new
games.
QB. Hey,
Step up, little boy.
Stafford has done against the most adversity, though. He hasn't always had.
Hey, I have respect for him, but
Yeah. I mean, he just always has.
But what?
What?
3-5
Hey,
and
Jeff
1.
Driscoll. Hey, Jeff Driscoll's about
But
to go
still,
off this
you're
Sunday.
keeping in a guy who has broken ribs. That's just cruel.
That's his thing. But he said to the media, he's like, I wanted to stay in.
Yeah,
But like
Stafford's a
NFL is
tough
still gonna probably
SOB.
look into it to see like
This is a guy who's also won a game with a separated shoulder.
right.
Exactly. I mean, this he's tough as nails. He might be one of the. I think he is arguably the toughest quarterback
I
to
agree.
play the position.
I agree.
I agree with him and Brett Favre. It's pretty tough.
But
Like,
he's still
Oh
bad.
yeah.
Stafford's
I wouldn't-
not.
No,
Oh,
no.
He's
I'm
not
kidding. I'm just
bad.
coming at
My
you.
man.
No, he's a
What's
good
Jimmy
quarterback.
G done? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, is that,
Okay, listen.
or Drew,
I never- I've
or
ne-
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
I mean, it's.
Big Ben, is that your quarterback? Is that
Big
your quarterback?
Ben?
He's
Oh,
gone
God.
now. He's gone now. He's not coming back, I don't think.
All right, bud.
no.
He's
Big
not my
Ben's out for the
quarterback. He's
season.
never been my quarterback. What do you mean?
Steelers fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
who's your quarterback? Mason?
No. Okay. Listen.
Wait a minute.
Well, you're.
Wait a
I know
minute.
you're 49.
No, I'm a 49ers fan, but like my dad's a Steelers fan, so I follow them.
Okay.
But I also I like watching them.
No,
I've been a fan.
Since you are a 49ers fan, wouldn't you like to see Kaepernick get another chance? Because you watched him
I have
lead.
always loved. I've always loved.
he led your team to, even though they didn't win, he did lead them to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship again the next season.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he deserves another chance if he could still play.
I do not want the Lions to pick him up.
No, the Lions.
I do not need
Why?
the
Okay,
distraction.
no, I agree.
I
with that.
I don't think he'd fit well in your offense.
I don't
in my
even care.
opinion.
Listen, that's like the one thing. Like the GM even told Adam Schefter is like, "Hey, I don't want this terrorist playing."
That's terrible.
He said, he's like, "I don't want
On.
this terrorist playing in my league."
I know.
That's what he said.
Who said that?
An anonymous
It was
GM.
anonymous GM, so
Obviously
And then he-
anonymous. I mean, the guy
Yeah.
doesn't want to lose his job or
Yeah,
die.
for real.
Watch
So,
me, the Niners GM.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
it was John Lynch. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, seriously.
Look at his last name.
or
Yeah.
the Dolphins GM. Who's
It was
friends with Trump.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think he deserves another chance, but
I don't know.
Just
if he
not with the
deserves
Lions.
it.
no,
Just
not
not
with the
the
Lions.
Lions.
I'm saying in the NFL, all that he stands for, all that he's done, he deserves another chance at the league. Probably not the Lions though.
I agree. I think he. Stephen A. Smith said something about him fitting well with the Bears. I didn't really read into it too much, but I don't see that either.
I don't see how he's. I don't see where that even happens. Like
I'm not gonna
Nagy
lie.
can't even call freaking 2 run plays. So how in the world is he
Yeah.
going to even
I
like?
don't think-
Mr.
manage
Trubisky
a
just had his best game of the year against one of the worst defenses in the
No.
league. Congratulations,
I know.
you played great against the Lions.
Yeah, and he had to run against a backup quarterback.
Didn't you see that? He was like, I want all the TV shut off at the facility. He was like, we don't need no more distractions.
Shut
I'm like,
up,
bro,
dude.
your QBR this year is 34. That's
I
trash.
don't want
That's
any
terrible.
distractions.
I'm like, I don't want to hear
Then
that.
I'm going up against a banged up secondary, a very shallow defensive line, and a backup quarterback who's made his 8th start in the NFL.
He should not be an NFL QB to me.
No.
You literally draft him over. I've already said this on the show, but I'm going to say it again. You draft him over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Like,
Yeah.
what? The,
Yeah, they messed up.
like, oh my gosh. They have
How
a
many,
Super
how many
Bowl.
games did he play in college?
Mr. Vinsky, I believe he played most of his
Did he?
career. He did have a few injuries.
No, I think he only started his
I thought it was like
only
a-
his senior year,
Yeah,
right?
he
In
only-
North Carolina.
It was about the back half of his year is about where he started. I mean, I think he started halfway through his junior year into his
Yeah.
senior year, and that was about it. He didn't play much college football.
All right, my bad on that.
He's a dog.
I don't know. I didn't really follow him too much in college, but I did know he was like a better quarterback in college. But honestly, is Mr. Trubisky one of those? I want to ask you guys: is he really another like Tim Tebow, Robert Griffin III, guys who are great in college but aren't going to pan out in the NFL?
Obviously, I mean, he hasn't done anything at all. I mean, he had at the beginning of the season, this is one of the greatest defenses. I mean, statistically, it was one of the greatest defenses to have been in the league. And then they fell off, and so did he. You know, they had a great start to the season, and then as soon as that defense gave up, so did he. You know, it's like the whole team lost its passion as soon as that defense stopped.
Even though this probably won't happen, I think they need to try to trade for Cam Newton because I think it's unlikely Cam Newton goes back to Carolina next year. I think that would Cam Newton that defense because you don't want to waste a Super Bowl defense for like you trade for Khalil Mack, you make all these new additions, but your offense can't really get 20 points consistently because you have a guy who can't really throw the ball.
Well, I mean, back to the Colin Kaepernick thing. I mean, if you can get Colin Kaepernick he's going to be a lot cheaper of an option for their money wise, and
they can also try him out this season since they're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, I mean the Browns are still in the hunt, but probably not. I mean, yeah, actually you are right. They're probably not because the Vikings and Packers have been so good. Yeah, I think it's time to move on from Mitch. Like, I know I've been like downing him on the show, but he's really just not NFL QB. He's not material. He's thrown 8 touchdown passes, and 3 of those came against one of the worst defenses in the league. So that shows you how. But in the QBR, like he's been terrible, man. He's already thrown 22 interceptions, and this is only
Trubisky.
In his career already.
Oh, he's had such a bad QBR throughout his entire career. I mean,
he's got to go. The problem is they don't have anyone else. Chase Daniel laid an egg overseas.
Seriously.
Like he's terrible. You might as well just run Wildcat like the entire time.
Exactly. Like I mean, like I just feel like you're wasting so much talent. Like they need to do something. I mean, I feel like, they definitely need to move on. In the next game, we can jump into, guys. We got a Super Bowl rematch this week from 2018 Patriots versus Eagles. Obviously, since that 2018 game, both teams have gone 2 completely different directions. The Patriots have won another Super Bowl, and the Eagles are struggling right now in the NFC playoff race. The game is in Philadelphia. I'm not going to lie, I do think it can go either way. But I do think New England's going to win the game. What did you guys
I think so as well. I think it's going to be really close. Especially in Philadelphia, the emotions are high. But I do think New England's gonna pull it out. But it could be like a last second field goal. I think it could be within a touchdown or a field goal.
Yeah, like the Eagles have been so up and down this year. Well, the whole NFC East has basically been along. The Cowboys and the Eagles have basically been on the same path, although beat these really
yeah, we talked about that.
Right. They'll beat these teams they're not supposed to beat, and then they'll lose to these teams that they're not they're not supposed to even worry about. So I mean I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles just snuck up on the Patriots and beat them. I mean they're 4.5 point favorites, but
Wentz is healthy.
I mean he's finally getting a chance to go
healthy,
Brady because in that Super Bowl it was obviously Nick Foles who played, and I was still very mad about that because I'm a huge Tom Brady guy. But I mean it can go either way. I do think, it's going to be a good game. Wentz has something he wants to prove because there was a report that some players in the locker room don't think he's a great leader because a lot of them preferred Nick Foles after he won that championship. So I think, Carson Wentz, his time is now because before that injury, people forget, he was a league MVP candidate. They were 10-1 in a 1 seed in the NFC. So I do think New England's going to win the game, though, because they need to bounce back.
I do think so as well.
I think they might get punched in the mouth, honestly.
You think Philly's going to win?
I think this Philly team, they've been, honestly, the last couple of weeks, they've been playing pretty good football. They haven't looked that bad. And I think, like you said, Wentz he's really got something to prove this week. He's got to show up or show out. I mean, he's either going to bring it all or he's going to get let go. So, and like you said, the MVP candidate.
Yeah, he was before he tore his ACL.
Yeah. Exactly. I think he's obviously still capable of that. I mean, you see glimpses of it in every game. Mm-hmm. He shows it. It's just that confidence. I think he's missing that little bit of confidence, and he's slowly getting that back. Being in the league longer, he's getting comfortable with it. So I think that this Eagles team could really sneak up on the Patriots and smack them in the mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
So you and Barrett got the Eagles?
Yeah, I would have to say I have the Eagles.
Logan, you got New England?
I got New England.
Okay, so 2-2. Would you guys like to make a prediction on the game?
Oh, I predict. I mean,
just if you had to guess a score,
I think
how do you think?
24-21 New England.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that was actually the exact score when the Patriots beat them in the 2005 Super Bowl.
See, this is what I was going to say 24-21 Eagles.
Okay. I'm going to say, I'm not going to lie, I do think the Patriots offense is going to be better this week. I'm going to say 28-17. I think the Patriots defense is going to show, Carson Wentz, I don't believe, is going to be able to pass that game.
I don't know.
I mean, Carson Wentz, he's surrounded by actually a lot of talent. Zach Ertz, they picked up Jordan Howard in the off seasons.
Goddard, Sanders, Jeffrey's
Alshon Jeffrey. And
What would be your prediction, Barrett?
But I don't know. I listen.
You got to take a guess.
You know, I don't like doing the numbers thing. Even though I did predict the Grand Valley.
I was-
Yeah,
Ferris
you were only
game.
1 point off.
I was
so you
only
might as
1
well.
point off on the Grand Valley Ferris one.
Respect that.
I don't know. I like the 24-21 thing just
Okay,
because I know
that's fair.
it's going to be close.
Like probably by a field goal. That's fair.
Yeah, like I mean, Patriots they're gonna not cover, which is gonna suck. But I mean,
I don't know. I mean, we really, honestly, people talk about how good the defense is, but they did get exposed against Lamar Jackson. So, like, how do they fare against good teams? Because even though I'm a Tom Brady guy, I'm man enough to admit that all their great wins were against pretty bad teams. Like, the 8 games they played were against bad teams. So
yeah, like the Eagles, like I don't know, they beat the Bills, who we're not entirely sure if they're like frauds yet or not.
yeah.
Like it's.
I mean, they're 6-3.
I mean, they're 6-3. They get Miami this week. The Bills
Yeah,
do.
it's basically a bye week.
I mean,
Even though Miami did win.
I don't know if
last
I
week.
play. I don't know if I play Josh Allen or if I play Deshaun Watson.
I'm playing Josh Allen this
play
week.
Deshaun Watson.
What? See,
Wait,
this is my.
That's actually
that's
the next thing I want to get into. This is probably the game of the week. We got the Ravens versus Texans. Deshaun Watson versus Lamar Jackson.
That's gonna
Dude,
be
that's what I'm
a
saying.
brutal game.
Honestly,
Two MVP
I
candidates
gotta
right
go.
there.
I gotta go with the Ravens. Lamar's
Easy.
he's literally a video game. His passer rating was perfect last week against, even though it was the Bengals. He's the only quarterback this year.
Let's just
It
put
was the
that in, even though
Bengals.
the
You know,
Bengals.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to,
seriously.
but honestly, he's been great this whole year. He's on pace to become the only player in league history with 3,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards in the same season as a quarterback. Like,
Yeah, that's
I mean, when you get comparisons to Michael Vick, obviously the best running quarterback up to the point of Lamar Jackson, and you're getting comparisons to that. I mean, it's hard not to be great, and he's been better.
the scary part, that's what I was about to say. He's on pace to pass, and Lamar's only 22.
Yeah, he's been better than Michael Vick.
He's on a roll, and I honestly think this game's gonna be close. Deshaun Watson's gonna play his best game probably. You know, knowing that he's going against Lamar Jackson. They're both connected, and I think it's gonna be probably Baltimore's gonna win by a touchdown. I think.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a great quarterback matchup, but I think
Definitely.
the team's going to come down to it overall. And that Texans team is Deshaun Watson's really leading a team that's got some talent on it. So I think this Texans team is going to pull out that W.
Yeah, and I think I'd have to agree, I'd have to agree with Caleb, but like they're coming off a bye. Deshaun's eye is probably not going to be as swollen as it was.
He said he ate something to make it feel better.
Like,
It was a
yeah,
Popeyes chicken sandwich.
probably. Yeah,
dude's
so
funny.
everyone's coming off a bye. I think everyone's going to be fresh, kind of healthy. I really think like Watson like is going to just, I don't know, he's going to not outplay Lamar, but I think it's just going to come down to one drive. Whoever has it last, it's going to be.
He's going to outplay the position. I mean, he plays quarterback. He plays quarterback a more traditional style than Lamar
Right.
Jackson does, and I think he's
I'm
going to.
gonna have to disagree with you.
I'm disagreeing with.
I'm gonna have
Yep.
to agree with me and Logan are just picking the
Tag
same
team.
teams.
That's weird.
Hey Logan,
Yeah,
we're
I
just
got you,
picking.
dog.
I gotta go with the Ravens.
Listen,
Be quiet.
I mean, we got
No,
we got Mark Ingram in there versus
Serious,
Carlos Hyde. This guy
Yeah.
is falling off.
Yeah, Lamar.
God, we're
Mark
talking about the
Ingram?
quarterbacks.
Are we talking about
I
Mark
don't know.
Ingram?
You're kidding, bro. He's
What'd
been.
you say?
Yeah, Mark Ingram's been pretty good.
I mean, he got his starting job taken away by a guy that's not doing that good in the league right now.
Okay,
Are you
well,
talking-
did
are
you see
talking
what he
Alvin-
was
are you
doing
talking
when
about
he was
Alvin
with
Kamara
this?
from
I
the
mean,
Saints?
Yeah.
I mean, Alvin Kamara was one
Alvin
of the best
Kamara's
running
Alvin
backs in the league.
Kamara.
Yeah, but what has he done this
Yeah, but
year?
he hasn't done very hot this year.
He's
Well, he hasn't,
been
but-
doing absolute trash.
Listen,
Well, I mean, he
but
hasn't been
past
good this year,
years-
but we know what he can do. His career has already been better than Mark Ingram's. Like we can make that. It has.
No, it
What has
hasn't.
Mark Ingram just been bouncing around? He hasn't really
Exactly.
Made that much
Nobody
of a
wants him. He's not that great of a
But
running
now
back.
he's still
Now
better
he
than
is.
Carlos Hyde.
Now he is.
What has Carlos
You're
Hyde
right.
done?
He's better than
He
Carlos
just
Hyde.
got traded from
Okay.
the Browns.
You were right. He is better than
The
Carlos
reason
Hyde.
he got
He's
traded from
still
the
not a
Browns because they
factor.
have Nick Chubb.
I mean, there's a reason why he got traded.
There's
No,
always
there
somebody.
definitely isn't. I think they drafted Nick Chubb and they were like, yeah, we can't have so many running backs. Plus, we just picked up Kareem Hunt. So, who would you rather go with, Kareem Hunt or Carlos Hyde?
Carlos Hyde, he's not even a top 10 running back. I think you all can agree with that.
I didn't say he's not a top 10 running back.
No.
I would rather have Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram to me isn't that great, so that tells you where Carlos Hyde is.
See, I
right
think
now, but
I think they're both equally kind
they're
of
about the
not
same
as
per-
good.
They're
Like,
literally the same person. It's what I feel,
They're not
I feel
it
like.
are you
factors
both
at all.
saying they're like both average, but maybe Mark Ingram's just a little bit better? that's what I
I'm definitely
think.
not saying
I don't know.
that.
I think
Yes,
they're
you are.
equals. I think they're equals. I do not think
All right,
that
I agree
whatsoever
with that.
that there's an advantage
Still
by
Baltimore
either.
with the win though.
I think if I had to make a prediction, question. I think Baltimore 28-24. I think it's going to come down to last second drive, and Lamar's going to be he's going to be the difference maker. Lamar's great.
That's the
feel like
one
I
I'm
just
going
Okay,
with.
but I mean, look at the wide receivers. I mean, you got Deshaun Watson, probably arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, he is.
And you have DeAndre Hopkins sitting over there on the outside that can burn basically anybody in the league. Like, nobody can keep up with that guy.
He's great.
So, I mean, honestly, I think if it does come down to a fourth quarter drive and the Texans do have the ball, I have no doubt in my mind that Deshaun Watson will put that game away and they will get that win.
Okay, so you're going with the Texans. That's a respectable pick.
No, that's a respect.
I mean, they did beat the Chiefs. They're a good team. But I think the Ravens are just on a mission right now.
They
Lamar.
are. They got...
He's great, man. I mean, he's
Barrett's
only
a
22.
Carlos Hyde fan, I guess.
No, I'm not. I'm not. What? We have not even talked. We talked about Carlos Hyde and Mark Ingram for like. Mark Ingram the second.
Yeah,
for a few seconds.
No. But to be honest, I mean, Mark Ingram
second?
and Carlos Hyde, neither of them are that great. I just think Mark Ingram's a little bit better, but they're both. I kind of got to agree with Caleb's point. Like, they're both like kind of like in the middle of the pack. They're not that much talked about.
They're not it factors, you know?
Yeah, they're not.
They're no Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. Christian McCaffrey's been unbelievable this year.
Oh my gosh, what that guy has done with the Panthers being a running back is, I think it changes the league. I mean, he's a wide receiver playing in the backfield, and you can't do anything about it.
Nothing.
I mean, you get the guy in open space, he makes everybody look like a fool.
True.
It's like throwing the ball to Lamar Jackson.
Honestly, well, you saw what they did. They did the triple option with 3 Heisman winners.
Yeah,
That was really cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Seeing
saying.
RJ3 out there. I don't know. Everyone just thinks he's like just not in the league anymore because
He's still a backup.
He's just a
he is still in the
backup.
backup. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was so scared that when he got the pitch, he was just gonna get killed.
I kind of
That
felt
would've been
bad for him.
hilarious.
His knee just explodes.
Ever since that great rookie season where he got
Instantly.
the Redskins to the playoffs, he just hasn't been like the same. You know.
Well, that's what everyone's worried about him. Him being Lamar running around so much because it only takes really one hit. As you can see, Carson Wentz torn ACL, Robert Griffin III torn ACL. It only takes one hit.
Brady
and you're
had a
done.
torn ACL.
I mean,
Brady's not a mobile quarterback.
last year,
No,
Ryan
but I was-
Ryan Tannehill for the Dolphins. I mean, he was having a record-breaking season. I mean, he was on a career high,
Right,
and then he
right.
had torn ACL in practice.
They
Yeah.
just beat the Chiefs.
Teddy
I was
Bridgewater torn ACL, non-contact.
Dude, Teddy Bridgewater.
Screw ACLs,
Something
honestly.
else.
ACLs are just
But to jump into the next game, because I see Barrett has it on the board, we got the Cowboys versus our hometown Lions.
Man, oh
I
man.
think-
See ya.
This is
hope
gonna be
we-
bad, dude.
Jeff Driscoll, MVP. This is going to be the first
He
game
is
he solidifies
terrible. He is
himself for the
terrible.
MVP. No, I'm just kidding.
Is he
Listen,
playing or is Stafford's
I don't
still
think
uncertain.
Stafford's playing. If he does,
I
don't.
hope he does.
That's. I mean,
It doesn't matter. Like, let's just be honest.
it matters.
It matters.
It's all about pride.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it
And
matters
we can ruin
exactly.
the Cowboys season.
Okay, if the guy plays, it's going to be a better Lions team, but it's not a Cowboys
No.
team. I mean, you can't. The Lions are not going to be able to stop Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott to the point, and Amari Cooper, who's sitting over there.
Yeah, well,
on
I
the
picked
wide
up
out.
Randall Cobb because I know they're going to be so ass this week.
Yeah,
I had to play him.
Yeah, Randall Cobb's. He's been good. The
He's
Cowboys.
the third behind Gallup and Cooper,
Yeah.
but he still gets he moves the chains. He plays like the slot, so it's very weird.
They mainly go how Zeke goes, though, if you really think about it. Because even last week, Dak played great, 3 touchdown passes, over 300 yards, but they still lost because Zeke had under 50 rushing yards. They go by how good Zeke goes. So I think if you stop Zeke, you can beat the Cowboys.
That's how it is. I mean, if
This is a team that lost to the Jets.
if you can stop Ezekiel Elliott, which is by no means easy,
Yeah.
you got yourself a pretty good chance to get that win. I mean, that offense is based off of play action passes. So if you can stop the opportunity to run the ball and then they can't run those play actions, then you know what they're going to do, and it becomes a predictable offense. And Dak Prescott has shown throughout the season that he is not the quarterback to lead you to that win, being as good as he is, because he just doesn't have I don't know what it is, that it factor like I talked about before. He just doesn't have that. So, I mean, you stop Ezekiel Elliott from running all over you, and you got yourself a win right there.
I'm a Dak fan, too, and I honestly got to agree. He's not the guy for a Super Bowl. He can make the playoffs, but Dak, I mean, I don't know. They really just need Zeke, because in the 1 year when Zeke really didn't play, they weren't the same team. They didn't make the playoffs that year. So I mean, I do think it's honestly a winnable game for us because it's at home, but we probably will lose because I mean the Cowboys have something to play for and we don't, especially if Stafford doesn't play. So I mean, we'll see. And Carry-On's still out, so it probably.
But something I do want to mention is Driscoll in that first half. He looked pretty good.
Right, he did look solid. Like he was hitting everyone.
He's running that offense pretty good for not being there a whole lot of the time. Like he ran that offense pretty good. I think if he's in there for the rest of the season, it could be not too bad of a team. I mean, he ran that offense pretty good for being in there for the first time.
And he had the on the run pass to Kenny Galladay for like the 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
like it's doesn't lack arm strength or anything like that. I'm sure he doesn't know. I'm sure they dumbed down the offense for him this week. I'm sure they'll expand it this week. Yeah. But I mean, we could
definitely a solid backup quarterback for you guys.
Yeah, and I mean he's no Teddy Bridgewater, but he's definitely he's not like the Dan Foles that we brought in earlier in the year, like the young guy who didn't know what to throw, like anything. So I mean he's garbage. But I mean I don't think we actually have a running back. I was like just looking up because Ty Johnson got hurt. Yep. I think he's got a concussion. We have Paul Perkins.
He's out.
We have J.D. McKissick and Paul Perkins, like the former Giants running back.
Yeah.
We're doomed.
Where has Paul Perkins even been? Like, dude, I haven't heard about that guy since.
I don't know. I wanted us
4 years ago.
I wanted us to get Jay Ajayi, who we had worked him out. I don't know if like Patricia and them thought that he just wasn't because he's been out of the league for almost like a whole season, I believe. Yeah,
I think it was 2 years.
2 years now. I mean, I know he went to the Eagles, or he started with the Dolphins. Went to the
I think he was on the Eagles championship team when they won.
Okay, so maybe it probably has been a couple of years, but maybe they thought he was just completely gassed and out of shape.
But the sad thing with us is like the same thing every year. People get their hopes up, and we just at midpoint through the season, like 8 games in, they're like, "Oh, we might as well prepare for next year." But it's like, why don't I don't understand. Then we make bad trades. Like last year, we traded Golden Tate. That didn't make sense. And this year, we traded Diggs.
What?
Tate
was a great trade. Sending him away, we got Snacks and a 3rd-round pick.
That was a pretty good trade.
Snacks is an elite defensive lineman.
I mean, he's elite, but what has that trade done for us so far? We've been the same team. When we traded Tate, we were 3-4, and when we traded Diggs, we were 3-4.
But we are playing in one of the toughest conferences out there.
I mean, true, but I'm just saying. I feel like a lot of the trades they might make sense on paper, but
the Packers and the Vikings in the same conference, and the Lions. I mean, the Lions haven't been a bad team. They lost to Kansas City by what?
I mean, I think a lot of people like in the media have felt sympathy for us for getting screwed over against Kansas City and in Lambeau Field. Yeah. I think there's like. Obviously, as a Lions fan, there is a montage out there of just rolling penalties that you cry. You know, Anthony Hitchens with the non-pass interference call. Yeah. Started out with the Cowboys, and I'm sure they'll talk about it this week or on Sunday. Like it'll be like I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to cry some more.
I mean, don't get me. I agree with that point. We do get like hoed by like the refs and officiating. That's honestly what all Detroit sports, to be honest. But,
seriously.
But, I mean, we still are honestly inconsistent. We almost beat the Chiefs, like you said, but we tie against the Cardinals. We lose to the Raiders. Like, we're not – I don't understand. Like, we're a good team one week, then, we're kind of like, hey, we don't really want to, like, win. Let's do whatever we can.
I think that's a product of the environment. I think Matt Patricia he's trying to do what Bill Belichick did. He's trying to build a locker room before he builds a team. He's bringing in guys.
And Bill Belichick didn't build like the dynasty in one year, a couple of years. So
it took time.
People want him fired, and I just don't understand that because
I think he's a great coach.
People are so quick to, and so what? Now you want to blow this whole thing up because we haven't had. So what? Our quarterback goes down with an injury. Our starting running back goes down with an injury. Our right tackle goes down with an injury. Like you can't blow this things up. We didn't have Davis in the first 4 games. We had 2 of our studs on the defensive line. It was basically just Snacks and Hand in there. I just don't think I think if you give him one more year, I think he could produce at least playoffs for us.
I think we need a better defense.
Really? Why? Why do you say that?
What?
No, wait. Are you saying just one guy would help you get to the playoffs?
I think we need a better defense.
No, I just need so he's gonna have a draft this year. Trading Diggs, I know everyone hates it, but he wasn't going to come back and sign with us. Like I know we gave him the extension, but like he wasn't going to come back to us. He's not built for that defense. Like we play man. He's 5'9". Everyone in this room, I think, is taller than him. So that's right. I think everyone in this room is taller than him, and he's just not built for man. Like you're supposed to have these long, lanky corners, lanky safeties. It's true. Like have Slay, Walker. I mean, Walker was hurt last week, but he's like the guy who's going to fill in. Will Harris fits the mold. All these people, like I just don't think they see how much we play man on Sundays.
On paper, this Lions team is it's a very mediocre team throughout the seasons. It doesn't have a whole lot of talent that stands out to you. And what he's done and how this team has played, it's been one of the most impressive years that I've been alive to watch the Lions. Like they look like a team. They look like they want to play, which you don't see a lot in a Lions team. So I think that firing him this year is too quick to the gun.
I agree with that. I think we need a better defense. I think that's one of our main problems too. And we don't have a consistent offensive line. And we've been drafting, but it just doesn't seem like none of the draft.
All we do is draft tight ends.
We have. So I mean, TJ Hawkinson, he's done pretty.
He was good in that.
He's good.
The first couple weeks.
He's done pretty good. Like I think he had an injury, but we have Will Harris. He's like our young safety that we drafted this year. Tavai is the linebacker we drafted. Lawrence is the guy we drafted out of Clemson. He was on that stud defensive line who won the championship. But he's hurt this year, so. I think they've shut him down. I think this give him one more year. I trust Bob Quinn. People hate that he thinks outside the box and does all this stuff. I think it's the greatest, dude.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
No, I said you do.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think he has a plan for all this stuff, and that people just have to be patient about stuff because the Patriots weren't championship winning team.
You got to buy into the system,
right?
Honestly, I do agree with that. A lot of people don't give Bob Quinn enough credit. I mean, it's been a long time since we've really actually never had nothing. So it's going to take time, but I mean, we are trying to make different moves to put us in a direction of a winning culture. But when you do that, it's going to take time to win. When we talked about Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, they're trying to change the system.
Yeah, and Logan can attest to this because when John Lynch came in, they were absolutely garbage, and so
100%.
Yeah, they were 100% garbage, and then they drafted Solomon Thomas. They were getting Jimmy Garoppolo. They knew they were building stuff.
They had a system they had a plan.
Right. So stick to the plan, trust the process, steal the Sixers stuff. But yeah, stay with that. I feel
PJ Fleck, row the boat.
Row the boat. That's right, baby.
Row the boat.
Well, we can hop into some NBA.
Yeah.
We can talk about our Detroit Pistons, man. For the first time all season, we had everybody back for a game. Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin. That starting line with Luke Kennard and Tony Snow and Andre Drummond.
Yeah,
but we lost to Miami last night, and we lost that game that I was talking about to Minnesota. We're 4-8 right now. How do you guys, see the season going?
Not good.
I gotta agree. I said at the beginning we're a 7th or 8th seed at best, and they're kind of proving my point. Hopefully, we can string along some wins, but
they're proving more of my point. I think that I don't think they're gonna be 10 seed.
You don't think they're? Oh yeah, you did say they're not going to make the playoffs.
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
You don't?
No, I don't. I don't think they have that.
I don't know.
They don't have the talent.
I mean, they have. Okay, yeah. It's.
Everybody talks about former MVP Derrick Rose.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, he's not the same. That was 8 years.
That
ago.
was
not the same,
horrible.
But, okay, yeah, that was stupid.
Fellas.
Blake Griffin, I mean, dude, what is he? Honestly, he's never really been that great of a power forward. I mean, he always puts up.
Wait, when Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were together,
the bombshell.
Listen,
when
Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were together, you did not want to be under the rim at all. Ever.
That was Lob City, baby.
Caleb, finish your point, 'cause I got to hear this.
Okay, Blake Griffin has always had great people to play with, right? He's always had people to give him that spotlight that he needed.
Okay.
Blake Griffin had Chris Paul to give him, that man was the best true point guard in the league for a long time, and he probably still is.
I agree with that.
So I think he got a lot of opportunities at the Clippers that made him great compared to what he's going to get at the Pistons. He's not going to get those same opportunities. He's not going to have that guy that's going to get him those open looks that he needs. He's going to have to create his own system, and he's proven he hasn't done it yet.
Well, you make a good point on he's not around the same talent. That's very true. He's not at all, but he proved last year what he can do by himself. He had his best career season, 25 points per game, and he got a pretty bad Pistons team to the playoffs. So he showed he's a superstar. He's definitely a top 3 power forward right now, and he has a 3-point shot. So I think he's expanded his game way more. Because when you talk about when he was in L.A., he was mainly just a dunker. Him and DeAndre. The highlight. It was cute. It was fun to watch. For us fans. But he's developing to more of a basketball player. I would feel like now because his skill level has gone up.
100%. I was just gonna say about his 3-point shot. having him have that last year, giving them to the playoffs, I mean, it kind of shows that he is now, like, he's starting to become a true point or a true power forward. And, I mean, it's kind of, he can play kind of both forward positions. And, I mean,
But do we want playoffs or do we want a championship?
So here's the thing.
I mean, we won a championship, but it's just
So
like,
is he the LeBron James? I mean,
No.
LeBron
He'll
James
never
brought
give-
LeBron.
But he's
That's what I'm
never
saying,
the
though.
player.
LeBron James brought a terrible Cavs team as soon as he got out of high school to the playoffs. You know, he did something that LeBron James did as an 18-year-old. How old is
it's
Blake Griffin?
LeBron.
I mean, the dude has had plenty of time in the league to become that guy that can get a team somewhere, and he just hasn't done it.
So when he comes again, when both Rose and Griffin come back against the T-Wolves, a lot of their shots are short, and that's just something like you can get like. You're not used to. You can't really simulate just running back and forth. Travis, you would know. You can't simulate like real game like stuff. I mean, you can with like 5-on-5 continuous basketball, but you can't simulate that. So maybe Blake was not in the best shape. A lot of his shots were short. I know his knee. I think there's something deeper with that. Like I really think there's something wrong with it, and they're just hiding it.
I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's the guy that's going to bring the Pistons where they need to be. You know,
No, probably not. But like, what we can do is we have Sekou. Sekou's a 2-year project. Like
True.
I think that's a plan.
Oh yeah,
Long way ahead. I think Stefanski thinks he knows what he's doing about that. I trust him. I don't really like Tom Gores as our owner because he wants to throw money at everyone.
he wants
Seriously.
to give
I'm
Drummond
dead serious.
a max.
I'm not. Don't want to give Drummond the max.
I don't want to.
He doesn't
Drummond
deserve a max.
No, Drummond.
never.
We need to trade
Not
him.
anywhere.
Yeah, he's got to go. He's not.
Like,
he's not doing.
I hate when people are like, "Oh my gosh, 2020." I mean, that's good, but it's not resulting into wins. And Drummond's so inconsistent. Like last year in the playoff game, like we talked about, Brook Lopez held him to 8 points. Like he doesn't, he's not consistent. He doesn't do it on a night-to-night basis, and we just need to let him go. And Reggie too. We just have a bunch of terrible contracts. That's why we haven't been able to do nothing.
So like that's why Reggie's gone this year. Hopefully, like as you mentioned, he's hurt now. So like we're really gonna be screwed if he doesn't really come back because of his back. But like we need to get rid of. I want to trade. I need some kind of asset or something like that. Like we should have beat this Miami team because they didn't have Hero, they didn't have Johnson. So it's 2 of their starters right there. I mean, yeah, we didn't have Rosa Griffin, but we were winning games without them. So
I can't lie, Miami is looking pretty good.
They
this
are.
year. Like the East is looking nice. Like I can't lie. Like,
That's why I'm saying. I mean, it's such a balanced league now. Like, I mean, all these East teams are now actually good, and like, I honestly think that the Pistons.
you don't agree, Caleb?
Caleb says no.
dude, I get that there's definitely some conferences that there are some that are balanced, but like you still have those super teams. I mean, you got the Lakers, you got the Pelicans.
Listen, I'm
the
saying
Pelicans aren't
I'm
a
saying in the
super team.
East. No, listen.
You tell me these Pelicans aren't a super team.
The Pelicans are a super
They're
team.
not even
They're
close to a super
no,
team.
no.
They're not
No,
even
wait.
close.
I think
a
what you're
super
trying
team.
to say. I think what you're trying to say is they're going to be
Oh, like in the
Oh,
future,
I mean,
like because they're 2-8 right now.
they're pretty.
Here's the
bad
thing.
right
No.
now.
Let me tell you. Hey, if
Pelicans-
it's
Brandon Ingram,
It's an 82 game season, boys. I mean,
All right,
hold on.
Wait, Caleb, I have a question.
Brandon Ingram,
Caleb, do you think the Pelicans will
That's
make
the
the
crap
playoffs?
I would say all the time
I
too.
don't- Do you think the Pelicans are making the playoffs?
I think halfway through this season they're going to look like a completely different team. I mean, I brought it up with the Michigan team. They figured it out. They bought into that process. I think they already did buy into this process. I just think they have to gel. It's basketball. Basketball is a very gelled sport. You have to act as a team more than any other sport, honestly. So, I mean, you put the greatest, one of a once in a generation power forward in any offense, and they're going to be good. So, I mean, Zion Williamson is going to make some serious splash this season. I just think he's not. They're not gelled yet. JJ Redick, one of the premier deep threats in the league right now. It's just that team has got talent up and down. It's kind of like one of the Browns teams, Like they just have the talent. They just need to gel. So maybe not this year. Maybe this year they're not a super team. But I think if they keep that talent on the roster, next year it could be one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA.
You can go ahead, Logan.
No. You go.
All right, thank you. I just don't know, Caleb. Like, because Zion, he still is on finished product, so we got to see what he does. But there's so many good teams. You still got the Clippers. Kawhi is young. He's only 27. So you still got the Lakers who are going to be good probably for a while. You still got the Rockets. You still got the Blazers. You got the Jazz. I just don't know if they can beat.
You'll love to hear the Jazz.
I wish Sean was here so he could argue.
I was going to say Mike Conley.
Yeah,
What you were saying?
Mike Conley's
he would be talking about them. But I just think there's too many teams. If they were in the East, possibly because it would be easier to make a run. But I just don't see them as like being a serious threat with all the good teams. And we can't forget about the Spurs. Greg Popovich. They've made the playoffs 20 straight years, 2 straight decades.
They're out. There's
What?
No way. Yeah, Spurs are out.
What?
They're not.
Are you serious?
Yes, they're not making the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs this year?
No, not
How?
a chance.
Oh
Bro.
my gosh.
Hey,
That's
Spurs are 9
ready?
right now.
I can name the
Suns,
bro.
7.
I can name the 8.
the Suns are not making the.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Bro,
Are you serious?
Suns at 8 for sure.
You think the Suns are making the playoffs
Dude,
too?
have you
Suns
seen
are
Kelly
sneaking
Oubre,
in.
Devin Book, bro?
So Aaron Bacon's all these guys.
Okay, you brought up. I was
Devin
trying to
Booker,
bring
Ricky
him up.
Rubio.
No, I love
DeAndre
Devin.
Ayton,
No, don't get me
Kelly
wrong. Devin
Oubre.
Booker's my favorite player. He's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You know I love Devin Booker.
Javon Carter.
Okay, get out of here.
These are all Hall of Famers.
Okay, get out of here.
All right, Logan, you can finish.
I don't know
No,
about that one.
My point's Suns at 8 seed. I mean, I honestly don't. Bro, I think that the Spurs are not. I mean, what's their record now? They're 5-5. Okay, but
Yeah, it's early.
that it is definitely early. But I don't think that they're gonna be a playoff team when it comes down to the 82 game season. It is not going to be a playoff team.
Can't. Two people you never bet against in sports is Bill Belichick, as far as
Greg
coaches and Greg
You're
Popovich.
right.
Okay, well, it's two
Taxes,
different things.
death
big
taxes,
No, but
and the
I'm
Spurs
serious.
making
Like,
the
think
playoffs.
about he always finds his way to make the playoffs. And there's Greg Popovich, and they got Deontay Murray back, and you still have DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. You can't. It's hard to really say.
Okay,
they're
so
not gonna make
out of
the
those 4 players right there, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, DeJounte Murray, and Derek White,
yeah,
maybe. Like,
Hey,
that's good enough to
don't
make the
sleep
playoffs.
on
But
Derek White.
I'm not saying they're going to make a run, but they can sneak a 7th or 8th.
Are you
They're
telling me
definitely
that
better than the
you don't
Suns.
think DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge can make at least 2
they
of the
are, no,
playoffs?
they
They just
are
made the
so
playoffs
they are
last year.
two
the thing
elite
is,
te- they
DeMar's
are
getting
two elite
traded
players.
to Orlando.
He's not getting traded to Orlando? You
Bet.
think so?
Who?
There's
Bet
no
on
way
my
that's going to
mom.
happen.
What sources?
Yeah, what source you got on this one?
So I saw something this morning on the NBA Wire that there was a possibility they were going to trade Mo Bamba, a first-round pick, and then Vucevic.
Vucevic.
Okay.
Vucevic.
Yeah, it's not who that is though. It's someone else. It's someone else. It's like that.
One of
name.
those
I don't
other
wanna
German
sound
guys.
terrible. I don't want to sound like a
You're good.
dick, but like it's like that. But like there's a possibility that they have shown interest to like have him.
Possibility.
Yeah, there's a possibility, but there's also a possibility the Suns make the playoffs, and it's very high.
Also
I know.
possibility.
well, me and
Anything's
Barrett,
possible.
I don't know if you guys know, but
Pistons
me and
to
Barrett have a
the
bet.
championship.
Pistons
for
are making
dinner.
Pistons aren't going to the playoffs. Now that I think about it,
We have a bet for dinner, like on the Suns making the playoffs. But I just think I'm going to
Easy.
easily get a
Hey, wait,
free dinner.
who would get the?
so I
are you
bet
for the Suns?
I bet Travis dinner that the Spurs. Well, the Spurs aren't even in the bet, but
Well,
the Suns.
it's just the Suns. If
The
make
Suns are making the playoffs.
Barrett's getting dinner. So
Thank you.
Barrett
Okay.
is getting a nice
First of all,
dinner.
First of all, he's
When
not,
has
'cause the Suns
this?
are
When
not
is the
making
last time the
playoffs.
Suns have actually made the playoffs?
That's a great
That's
question.
what I'm saying.
This year?
It's a
I'll look
long
that up right
time.
now.
It's been a very, very long time.
It will be this year.
2010 was the
What
last
was it
time
since
they made
like
a conference
Steve
final.
Nash? Is that the last time they made it? Was
Yeah,
the
Steve
name
Nash.
Steve Nash?
2010 was the last time they made a conference final, so it's been almost a decade about that. But
Oh
we're not
my
going to get
God.
in too deep about that.
Listen, it's been 2010. They're due.
Dude, they've been rebuilding
I'm
for
just-
almost
see,
10
I
years.
knew what it was because I followed the Suns. I'm just saying they're not. And you said over the Spurs. That's just so disrespectful.
Dude, no.
That's just,
Dude,
oh my
dude,
God.
I'm
Logan,
telling you
listen,
right
Logan,
now.
I cannot believe
Listen.
you right now.
You're kidding, dude.
Over
The Suns over the Spurs this year. I'm not, bro.
Just
Yes, it's
this
Greg
year.
Popovich, but how the Suns have been playing lately.
it's the beginning of the season. Though.
Okay, but I mean, I
Okay.
think that the Suns are gonna keep continuing to be this elite. I mean, they're like. They beat the Sixers, who was the only undefeated team left.
True.
And I mean,
They did beat the
there's-
Clippers too.
yeah, and, they didn't have Kawhi, but
Yeah, true.
they.
Oh, that makes
I'm a
it
Clipper.
all the difference.
That makes all
right
the
there.
difference. I know. But still, I mean, they beat the Sixers, who's stacked. But I mean,
But talking about the Clippers, Paul George is supposed to come back tomorrow. I think this is going to be the start of something serious for them.
yeah.
So I think,
But-
I mean,
Lakers always just gonna rule LA. I mean, they got to.
you
They
think the
got to
Lakers
move.
over the Clippers?
Probably. I don't think seeding wise at first. I think the Clippers are maybe gonna come out. Yeah, I think they'll come out the West. I think they'll be the number 1 seed in the West. But I do think that, I mean, if you're playing a 7-game series with LeBron, yes, they have Paul George and Kawhi, but LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kuz had his best game yesterday, those 2 clutch threes against the Suns. I mean, I think that it's just going to be really hard to beat the Lakers in a 7-game series, and we also got Rondo back. So.
I just got to disagree with you. The Lakers are great. LeBron's playing amazing right now, but in June, hear me out, fellas. June 2020. Kawhi's going to be the Finals MVP as long as no injuries, nothing like that. God forbid.
If he makes it there.
If he makes it, hopefully. But
wait, you think the Lakers are going to beat the Clippers?
well,
Yes.
they can't.
How?
What do you mean?
There's no possible
Paul George
change.
just finished 3rd MVP voting, and Kawhi showed you what he did opening night to LeBron. Kawhi's been showing you the whole season what he can do. I'm telling you, Kawhi. They're probably
Okay, so
win
wait,
a championship.
also, Anthony Davis, super injury prone. If we don't have Anthony Davis going into the
Anthony
Western
Davis
Conference
not even
Finals,
playing tonight because of load management.
he's not.
He's not playing tonight against the Warriors.
I mean, we
Yeah,
don't
what's
need him.
up?
We don't need him. All right, listen,
Well,
we
what
don't
are you
need him.
talking
We don't
about?
need him.
Oh,
We
you
don't
definitely need
The
him.
Warriors.
Eric
Eric Paschall is their best player right
The Warriors
now.
are so bad.
The
Yeah,
Warriors
Eric
Warriors are so
Paschall.
bad.
Can we
Do you
talk
hear
That's
about-
a sleeper team.
Can we
is a
talk about
rookie.
the biggest decline in NBA history
Ever.
from
It's
the
so
Warriors?
bad. They're tanking now.
from
But the thing is,
Yeah.
they're,
NBA
they're
championship.
like-
Listen, next year, Steph, D'Angelo,
Clay.
Green, Clay,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Now
they're
Willie
they're
gonna
gonna get
Cauley-Stein.
they're going to get at least a top
Yeah.
3 draft pick,
Yeah,
which could be.
It's going to be
It could,
scary.
dude,
Yeah,
how
but-
funny would it
yeah.
be if they went and they got LaMelo?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would be
I can't say-
nasty.
funny.
I can
That'd
say
be
it's a
nasty.
decline for this season, but I can't say overall because we at least got to see how they look when they're fully healthy. Because right now injuries just kind of got them after running the NBA the past 5 years. But
Also, at the beginning of the season, before everything, they were talking about how elite the Clips defense is. I mean, it's obviously still elite, but the Lakers now second in defensive rating.
do you honestly think the Lakers have a better overall defense? Than the Clippers?
No, but right now they're showing it. So, I mean,
True. I mean, statistically,
Listen
true.
here,
dude, can we not talk about
defense,
stats? I mean,
No, stats.
obviously-
You're right, but we got Mr. 94 feet. Kawhi is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year award, and Paul George is a pretty.
That's what
good
I'm saying. At the but nobody was thinking about the Lakers being a defensive team. I mean, they're all an offensive team, but
True.
I mean, they're showing defensive glimpses. I mean, elite defense glimpses.
You are right. LeBron has made a point because he wanted to show people he does still play defense after not really the past few seasons, but he is right now playing really good defense. It's going to be
And
interesting.
we'll continue to.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see
too
for
old.
that.
Damn.
Yeah, I just don't know
He's
if he
getting-
can get past. I just think Kawhi is at a better state, in his career than LeBron because LeBron's 34. Obviously, who's had a better career, LeBron? But right
Age is
now,
just a number.
What?
Wait,
Wait
what?
a minute.
Age
dude,
is just
that's-
a number.
Kawhi
Age
is
is
in
not
his
just-
prime. We're talking about
I know he's in his prime, but LeBron is still putting up crazy
LeBron,
numbers.
okay, listen.
Okay,
this
yes,
is
triple doubles,
LeBron
triple doubles,
last
triple
year.
doubles.
So what are you gonna tell me? LeBron last year was younger, and then he had worse defensive efficiency numbers.
Yeah. LeBron really.
What are you? How are you gonna defend that?
Yeah.
Well, he's playing.
LeBron doesn't play. LeBron does not play defense in some
Now he
moments,
is.
dude.
Yeah, in a lot of
Now
moments
he
he
is?
doesn't.
Okay.
Now
okay,
he
that's true.
is.
That's true. Okay.
No,
listen, that's true.
Basically, watching James Harden trying to guard
It
somebody.
really there are
Really,
some
really,
nights,
really.
I'm dead serious.
Chase down blocks.
There
Have
are
you-
some,
there's
no, but there
Yeah,
are
so-
some nights where he just does not
Some.
try. What you got? Oh, they were pointing at some of the computer. No, there are some nights where he will not try. There's multiple examples of this, or even looking at the efficiency numbers. I just don't think LeBron sometimes just doesn't want to try. People
Okay.
say, well, their argument for that is because he's on the floor so much.
Yeah.
But if you're on the floor,
Yeah.
dude, play
But I
defense.
think that's also why he wanted Anthony Davis so much. He wanted to take some of the pressure off because last year he didn't really have a lot of people. But also LeBron has to turn off this playoff mode to get locked in. Kawhi's just 24/7, just right at you.
Yeah, I mean, other than
know
the
what I'm
love
saying?
management thing, but now
But
everyone's
that's a serious
everyone's
thing,
doing
though.
that. He's got knee
Yeah.
That
problems.
is serious. That is serious.
LeBron
Yeah.
did that last year too, where he was he
Yeah,
took time off, or knee injuries.
Yeah,
that's
people
a-
have short memory.
people
though.
have
That's the
done
thing
that
is
all the time.
Kawhi doesn't get a whole lot of. I mean, he gets his load management games off, but he doesn't get a lot because the dude never really had it. He's always been the guy on the team.
That's
It's
so
been
true.
Kawhi, so he had to play. I mean, if he wanted to get the playoffs, he's gonna play.
Yeah,
So I think that dude, he's got no stop. He's got no quit. He's got the it factor. I keep bringing that up.
I agree.
Some
He's
people
a
in
claw.
professional sports just have that factor to be great. You
I
know,
agree with that. Not saying he's better in the same conversation as Jordan, but Jordan, Kobe,
Oh,
guys like
jeez.
Ray Lewis, guys in professional sports we talked about, Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez. There's a lot of guys who have that factor. LeBron has turned on back and forth, but I think Kawhi so I gotta stick with my prediction.
Okay.
I think Clippers are gonna beat the Bucks in 6 games in the finals. The Bucks are gonna come out the East.
I agree.
I agree
Bucks
with
are
that.
definitely coming out the East.
Because Giannis, the Sixers you got, and obviously Boston, who's 8-1 right now, has been great with Kemba, but I think Giannis, the reigning MVP, man, he's getting a jump shot. He's had a few games this season where he's hit multiple threes.
That's what's scary about Ben Simmons too. Ben Simmons, that dude, he's been shooting a jump shot like no tomorrow. That dude actually got a jump shot, and now people are actually kind of scared about Ben Simmons. That 76ers team is legit.
Yeah, I can't lie. Joel Embiid, they got a good team.
Yeah, with Al Horford, and they added Al Horford. So,
I mean, that was Sean's pick, right?
Yeah, the Sixers.
I like this. I believe I went with the Celtics. I don't really remember. It was our first one.
You did,
coming out the East?
Boston is 8-1 right now, so Gordon Hayward just got hit,
Yeah. What's up, guys?
Yeah.
I know how to pick NBA. Big Boston fan. I really hate that Gordon Hayward went down. Really hurts my heart deep down. He's out for 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
We got Kemba though. He'll lead us.
I've been saying it, bro. He's not better than Kyrie, but he fits better in that system.
Oh yeah, he does for sure.
Brad Stevens, bro.
He's a team player.
They're doing some nasty things. I mean,
Kemba's a team player, and Kyrie's never really been that guy that's gonna give up the ball for somebody else. But Kemba doesn't have a problem with that.
That's true.
He's a real good. Honestly, I think he's a real good mixture between Kyrie and Chris Paul. I think that's a pretty good comparison. If you were to put those two guys together and take not the best of both of their attributes, but a very good portion of that, and put that into a guy, I think that describes Kemba.
He doesn't have like the handle like Kyrie
No,
does.
no.
But like
he's got the scoring. I think he's got the scoring.
He can still create his own
for
shot.
himself.
You definitely make a good comparison. Like he has a mind or IQ like Chris Paul. You're saying like a play style like Kyrie, and he's under control. So I gotta agree with that. I mean, like you said, Barrett. I mean, Boston's been. They've been very good.
Boston
Suns. I'm gonna be 2 for 2 this year. Suns to the playoffs.
Let's hop back to that time. We could talk about that. So I just don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. There's so many teams that are better than them in the West. So you got to
I
think,
want them
man.
to just get the playoffs, bro.
You
That's
still
all
got-
I want them to
you
do.
still got
Just
the Clippers,
squeak in.
Lakers,
Just squeak in for Applebee's.
Trailblazers,
just like the
Houston.
Pistons did.
Just
Jazz.
squeak. Yeah, just squeak in.
If the Suns were in the East, probably, but we're talking about the Western Conference.
Dude, the Western Conference has been stacked for the past how many years?
Yeah, but you know
So
who's
sad.
stacked? The Suns.
Yep. The
What's
Suns,
up,
dude.
bro?
Who's another? Who
Stop,
can average
Rob.
more 20 points on that
Okay,
team?
how
besides
Dario
Devin Booker?
Saric.
How young is their team?
Dario Saric can
Very.
average 20 points.
How young is their
He
team?
probably
Super
he
young.
did close
What?
in his rookie season with the 76ers. He averaged kind of in the teens, like 18, 16 something.
What do you need when you're going into the playoffs?
What do you
You need veterans. You need guys that you
I
need
was trying to think of
guys.
something not to say experience.
That's what you need.
that's
I mean,
what-
Yeah.
it's probably one of the biggest things that you need when you're going to make a playoff run is like people that know how to play in the playoffs because it's a different mindset. You know, it's not the same as playing in the regular season.
Wait, has Ayton
That's
played
true. It's
yet?
different. Aiden, he got suspended after the first game,
Okay,
so
that's
he
what it was.
he should be
For
back.
some
20 games.
phantom PED thing. It was
Yeah.
for blood. It wasn't even for. It was to increase hydration.
I think the NBA was so shocked the Suns won a game they had to investigate. Basically, I think
That's
no,
tough.
And yet they're
no.
still gonna finish over
Yeah,
the
that's weird
Spurs,
because
which
they're
is
gonna finish
crazy.
over the Spurs,
No,
Yeah.
and
That
they're
was
gonna
fun.
be.
They're not going to be better than the Spurs.
Yes, they
I'm
are.
telling
Dude,
Did
Logan,
you,
are you- bro.
Did you
I'm
want to
telling
talk
you.
about? Wait, did you want to talk about Ferris's basketball game tonight?
Oh yeah, Ferris State. We'll switch topics after a very heated NBA discussion. Ferris State is 5-0. They're playing
First,
them again
the
tonight.
only college basketball team through all levels, Division 1, 2, and 3, to be undefeated.
Feed right now.
what? Really?
No way! Yeah, unbelievable. Isn't that crazy?
I cover the
Bulldogs,
sports.
Go
baby.
Dogs! That's right.
I cover the sports teams here. They've been pretty good. Walter Kelser's been doing his thing. He's been playing great after redshirting last year. They have a pretty good team. Cole Walker. A lot of these guys are back. Sadly, Jalen McFadden got hurt. Yeah, but
Yeah, he was their guy. He was their guy.
Yeah, he was the leading scorer,
Buckets,
but-
over in their tip-off game.
I
in
mean,
California.
he's been a huge guy.
Yeah.
You know, with the coaching staff, he's been helping with. I mean, everything practices. I actually talked to him. He was. I mean, he is a great guy to have. You know, motivate the players just to continue to keep playing. I mean.
Yeah, they got a good squad for sure. I hope they win tonight to keep that momentum going. I think it's going to be better than last year's team. You know, Brockman, he's had 5 straight 21 seasons. You know, hopefully we can keep that going and try to get back in that run for a GLIAC championship because you do know they won 4 straight from 2015 2018, which was a great run. There's been a lot of good stuff around here for sports. As you know, we won the Anchor Bone Classic against Grand Valley. Barrett was only 1 point off from his prediction, which was pretty impressive.
That's impressive. It was a good game. I watched with Travis up in the press box. It was a back and forth. When Grand Valley went up 9-0, I was a little bit, I was like, wow, this is actually closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely. Travis Russell came through. Great name, by the way. But he played good in the second half. We outscored him 14-0 in the third quarter. It was a really good win for us. Now we have hopefully a first-round bye because we finished our season a little bit earlier than other people. But yeah, I do think we could have won the game by more. We had the ball 3 times inside their 25, and we didn't score. I don't think Grand Valley's that good of a team, to be honest. We should have won by more, but good thing we got
I just think the turnovers and lack of control, handling the ball just really hurt us in that aspect. I also it was cold, windy, so I mean, yeah.
It was cold.
It's really another example of those rivalry games. That the worst team always comes out with nothing to lose, and they play with a chip on their shoulder.
True.
They want that. They honestly almost want the win more than the other people. It's just sometimes you're outplayed.
But Grand Valley's playing actually really well, and I mean they weren't going out there they have nothing to lose because they're actually they could have actually they're competing to get in the tournament. So I mean it was surprisingly close, in my opinion. But
yeah, I do agree with that. I just think some miscues we had earlier on in the game, it should have been not that close. But our defense played great. Only 1 touchdown allowed throughout the entire game, and they played great the whole season. 9 out of the 10 wins, they held their opponent under 20 points, and they had 2 interceptions that game with a fumble recovery. So Anise has done an amazing job. That was also his 100th game. How ironic against Grand Valley.
What a game!
And we've beat them 3 straight years in Anchor Bone Classic. So. It's obviously good for us.
Yeah, I think it'll continue. I think
defense wins championships.
Exactly.
Boys.
We have some great sports going on, but that'll be all for Mike's and Takes episode 7. Thank you, Logan, for coming back on the show.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Barrett. Thank you, Trav.
Thank you, boys, very much.
Hope to
be back.
Yes, we'll love to have you guys back again soon, and I'm tuning to the episode on Friday.